tell you first why most companies fail at online marketing. This is because I see it so many times. They'll sit down in a conference room just like this. I'm the marketing company. Now, I would never do this, let me make that clear, but I'm acting as if I'm my competitor. This is what they say. All right, what keywords do we want to be on page 1 for? And then we start spitballing ideas, right? Oh, best attorney in Fort Lauderdale, or family lawyer, and you start writing them down, and then the marketing begins. That's a disaster. It's literally guessing. We're better off taking a quarter and saying, what are we going to do? Heads or tails? It's a gamble, and it's a mistake. We spend a month doing what I'm about to teach you, which is the research. This is the most important part of your marketing campaign, is the research. And if you skip it, it might work, which could even be really bad, because now you'll start spending money, it's false sense. But let's find out how what really is going to work for sure, and then let's start investing your time and money and energy into marketing. But don't do that first. Let's find out how to do it. get on page one naturally? We know that if you pay Google, you get on tonight, right now, right? Instantly. But if you don't pay Google and you naturally are building it up, how do you get your website on page one? I'm going to teach you that, but let me explain how Google has a formula to do that. Google looks at two things, all right? So SEO definition I'm going to give you now. Two things, on page and off page. On page is on your website. Is the content relevant on your website? Now remember what I'm talking about now. So I'm talking about how to naturally get on page one, right? If you have a website that is awful and it's horrible, but you're willing to pay Google, they're going to put you on page one. They don't care. You're going to get on page one. I'm talking about now, how do we convince Google that our website's the best? So this is the SEO part, underneath the paid ads. On page is one, and off page is the second. So let me explain what that is. Off page is third-party websites that link back to yours. Off page has nothing to do with your site. It has to do with another website that has nothing to do with yours. I'll give you a real-life example. Let's say the Miami Herald came in here right now and says, I loved your story about being in New York half the time, and I want to write a story on that. And the Herald writes an article. So in tomorrow's paper, Karen's going to be in the front page of the business section about how she splits 6 months out of the year in New York and 6 months here. If we all go there and we read that article on our cell phone or on our computer, and we go online to do it, obviously we can't go on the physical paper, but when you read an article and inside it's got like an underlined link, and I click on that, I now leave the Herald and I go to Karen's site. Google loves this. They love it. Google says, why in the world would the Miami Herald take their visitors and bring them to Karen's site? Your site must be valuable. Otherwise, Herald would never drive. It's almost like a referral, offline, right? So the term is called a backlink or a hyperlink. Remember, on page is on your website. We're going to go through all this in detail, but on page is your website to make sure your site's built the right way for that term. If we don't do the research in the beginning, how do we know what the terms are? How do we know how to build it? So many people build their website first. They spend so much money and energy and time and everything on build their site, but they have never even done the research. So all their keywords and the content that's in their website might totally be unrelated to what they're really targeting, right? Yulia, it goes to what we were talking about, starting with the research first and understanding your mission. What is your, we talked about that before the meeting, but that's so important doing that. So that's on page, and then off page are these links. Now, we can't sit here and cross our fingers and hope that the Miami Herald's going to come here and write a story. It's not going to happen, right? So how do we proactively do that?